I already knew, sugar wasn't good for me, but how could I learn it? You know what I mean? How could I change it when I felt like, and I knew eating right would be good for me, but how do I learn it if I thought, okay, I know it, but what have I done about it? In a positive way. So
Hi everyone, this is Natsuki Davos and welcome to this episode of Ask an X. Every Ask an X episode features an inspiring story of a CBQ program member who broke up with destructive habits and found freedom. The ex I have with me today achieved food freedom with the CBQ program, and she's here to tell you how she did it. Please welcome Kathy Hogan. Kathy, welcome and huge congratulations on your success.
thank you.
Great to have you here. So can you start by telling me, what is food freedom for you? What does it mean to you?
Well, what attracted me to the whole idea is I experienced freedom from smoking. And it wasn't that I was that bad of an eater. It was that food was such a priority in my life. I'd go to bed thinking about what I was going to have for breakfast. If company was coming over, I would spend the day thinking about what I would have out to eat. If I was going out to a restaurant, I'd be going over the menu. Just too much of a priority. I just didn't want it to be that way. And then I didn't want to be that compulsive with food, where I find myself standing in front of the fridge thinking, well, what should I eat? When I really wasn't even hungry. So there was just this sense of food owning me instead of me being behavioral around food. So I thought, it worked for smoking, and it's not that I'm never going to want to eat again, but I just wanted it to have more balance in my life, and it has absolutely achieved that.
Yeah, you had an amazing, amazing transformation.
Thank you. Yes.
And you're gonna tell me all about it, but tell me a little bit about your life. You said food wasn't that bad, but it was occupying a lot of your thoughts. It was too much of a priority. So looking back at your life, how has your relationship with food been like?
Before,
Yeah.
um, you started out with a quote, "It's not possible to learn what you think you already know." And when I heard that, I realized there was so much around food that I thought I knew. I could tell people about sugar and processed foods, and what I didn't realize in my life before, how quickly you've had too much sugar, and how sugar is in everything, and processed foods and seed oils, and how, in my own life, I had issues coming up, inflammation, some autoimmune, the blood disorder. And I remember thinking I was at a place in my life before where I was so discouraged with the medical industry. You watch TV at night, all you see are commercials for medicine, prescription drugs, side effect, possible death. And they're not dealing, if they'd have that many commercials on what the cause is, instead of just treating the symptoms, I think the whole world would be different. So I think in some ways I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you use the word freedom, at my church, we're starting a program called Freedom. And I saw food freedom, and I thought, I'm going to add that to my list, because I don't want to be in bondage to anything, because it distracts you, and it's not healthy. Oh, it's disgusting. Especially on shows around, like Wheel of Fortune, when probably people in their 60s and 70s are finally relaxing and watching TV. And they don't, it's like, are they ever going to start asking, why are people getting these things? And instead of just, this is the cure to take care of the symptom. And the type 2 diabetes, oh my gosh, it's out of control. It's out of control. I think, and I'm hoping and praying that we're going to see a swing back. I grew up in Germany, and you're in Europe, so we didn't see that kind of. You went to the fruit and vegetable store, you went to the bread market, you went to the meat store. I remember I moved back here, I started junior high, and the grocery stores were like, there's so much stuff. And I remember getting an argument when I had children My firstborn, when he became a toddler, I was arguing with the lady about, why do you keep all this candy at the checkout? I can't even get through with my child without him wanting this, that, and the other. And yeah, it can only get better, I hope.
I
But
hope it as well.
you also said something, turn your desire into a decision. And I think that's totally where I was. I was tired of just hoping it would be this way or wanting it to be this way, and there's not a diet I haven't tried. There's
Please tell
keto,
me about that. Yeah.
South Beach, Noom. I mean, Jenny Craig. I ordered food, Nutrisystems, and I would have some success, but then I would just gravitate back because it had never really dealt with my emotional eating or the triggers that I had that just, it's like, and I did something else that you talked about, moral licensing. If I had a really good day and I'd lost a couple pounds, it's like, oh, I can have ice cream tonight. And that I didn't realize how ingrained that was in my brain. So
Yeah,
it was a
moral
big
license
part.
is huge, lays out a huge trap for us. So you've tried a lot of things. Have you tried even more than that? Like diets and programs?
Oh, so many. I can't think of one I haven't tried. I mean, eating nothing but bacon and chicken and steak, and then, ordering food and having it delivered to my house, and having the little compact meals, that you would take, cooking one way for my family and me eating a special meal that was, and yeah, I could lose like 5 or 6 pounds and feel good. But I used to joke, the minute I have a sandwich, I gain 10 pounds. So yeah,
Yeah,
and I don't, I think food can have a different, I just wanted a different relationship with food.
yeah, and you achieved that. So in your experience, because you have a lot of experience having tried all that, what is different this time?
Um, well, I think what's different is the things I didn't like so much in the program, and one was the food log. I did it, and I did it because I saw that in the smoking log. It starts to make you aware of things that you're doing and effective things. And by asking yourself when you eat something, how do I think this is going to make me feel? And then waiting, and how did it make me feel? It's such an awareness thing. It's by the time, I mean, that's one of the biggest changes. I look at food now and I think it's not that I feel like I don't have a choice. I mean, we just went through the holidays, and I remember thinking there was a piece of pecan pie, and I thought, I really want that. And I really thought about it, and I did exactly what you had said in mindful eating. I thought, I'm going to have it and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to be mindful of it, and then put it behind me instead of, feeling like, I don't know, it just changes how you see what you eat. And being mindful over willpower has been huge, because being mindful is, it's an opportunity to stop and think, is this emotional eating? Is this a physical trigger? Is this, something, a habitual pattern? I drive by, oh, a big one, drive by a Dairy Queen, which is our little fast food. I crave an ice cream, a Frosty. And now it's like, I actually had a bite of one, and it was just, it didn't taste good. It is true. Your taste buds change a little bit around sugar, and it just tastes sweet, and the ice cream tasted grainy, which is wonderful because it was always like that. I just wasn't cognizant of it.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly said. And being mindful help you with that. The log help you with that. You said some of the things I didn't like about the program. Tell me what else you didn't like, and tell me what else you liked as well about the
Uh,
program, your journey.
well, I'm gonna so when I'm thinking, one of the things you talked about that was huge for me, um, when you did that, the maps about your comfort zone, and then moving into the fear zone and into the learning zone and then into the freedom zone. When I first looked at that, and I actually have shared it in a few of my classes, we have discomfort even in the comfort zone. I was living in the comfort zone. And I would still have discomfort, whatever, with bloating or my weight or my sleep or, and there was discomfort I was experiencing, but I wasn't moving out. But when you talked about, you can also have discomfort moving into the fear zone, but you're moving toward freedom. So it makes it really doable because the positives of experiencing that are okay. Yeah, I'm maybe not getting the support. I'm sure my family went, oh, here she goes again, another food thing. But they were always supportive, but I'm sure in their mind, I don't blame them if they were thinking, sure. And then to move into the learning zone, that was huge in this program. The different names of sugar when you go shopping, seed oil. It was just like, I thought seed oils were just the best invention. Um, and things that how I think the food industry in the USA, and it's unfortunately spreading to other countries, is fraudulent. And it's almost criminal. It's like the the havoc it's causing. And then when you talked about that, oh, what was the word you used?
Bliss point.
Yes, thank you. The bliss point. So if they weren't meeting their quota, they weren't getting the amount they needed, what would they do? They would add sugar. And then when you were saying there's sugar in some salt packets, it's like they're going to get it into us no matter what. And sugar is addiction. And I've dealt with addiction. 45 years ago, I'm recovering from addiction. And I don't, that hold things get on you. You wouldn't think, people don't think of sugar as that type of thing. So yeah, that was a huge one. So getting that discomfort that leads to freedom is worth it. If you're going to choose, why choose discomfort that keeps you in that same place and never changes? That was a really big one. And the other one was you gave us a graph about things you have control of versus things you don't have control of. And I've really learned just going through it, experience I'm having with my family. Okay, I have control over these things, so I can ponder those things and reflect and spend some time, processing. But those things I don't have control over, why am I wasting my time trying to manipulate it or make it happen a certain way? And that's true with food too. I mean, my choices, it's huge. When you were saying, making a decision, take your desire, turn it into a decision. So yeah, it's changed everything. I can't begin to say. I mean, if someone is considering this program, um, if your heart's in it and you really want to embrace a change in your life, this has probably been even bigger than smoking, a big change in my life, and probably as good or better for me than quitting smoking. And just having it balanced in my life. You don't, I realize, you don't have to have 3 cigarettes a day to stay alive, but you do have to have some meals. So why not enjoy the meal the way it's meant to be? And that's another thing. I love to cook. I remember that was one of my biggest concerns. And now I'm finding ways to cook things that are still in the program, still make sense. They're still healthy and tasty, and they don't have all that additives. So that's been amazing. For starters, my go-to roasted vegetables. And then, roasted vegetables with an egg on top for breakfast. And I still haven't given up bacon, but I'm sure it's nitrate free. And I did I'm trying to make an effort to make sure all my meat is grass fed. Um, just cognizance, just being aware.
Yeah, these are amazing changes, Kathy. And I know that you made the most out of this journey and that it impacted every aspect of your life as a result of you going through that transformation, right?
Yeah, you have to be vested. Yeah, it's not something you want to do if you have a lot else going on in your life. Um, I just happen to, have that time. I mean, you can have things going on in your life goes on, but you really want to make this a priority because I can see where, if you just go half in, you're probably going to get half results.
As with anything, right?
Anything. Exactly.
But it's
Mhm.
very much worth it to prioritize
Yes.
one's
Mhm.
health because especially when we live our lives taking care of others, our
Yeah.
spouse, our children, our parents, our family, our community, and we tend to put our health to the bottom of our
Right.
list. So it's very much deserving to go to the top so we can serve everyone else as well from a place
Mhm.
of health and freedom.
Mhm. That's such a good point because I think I saw it in my own life. I had lost 5 family members in 3 years, and I had gone from one to the other being caregiver. And when my husband passed away, it was like I didn't know who I was outside of being a caregiver. It didn't dawn on me, care for myself. And after some time went by, he passed away just before COVID. And then there was that period of isolation. So it was I can God works it all for the good, and I can just see in my life how it orchestrated to be something that added to me, kind of made started to make more sense. And yeah, I'm at a place in my life now where of course I want to give and do for others, but it's a much healthier place that I'm coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Perfectly said. So, Kathy, can you tell me, because I'm about the autoimmune and this transformation. I mean, this is an
Yes.
amazing story that I want people to hear because it's so
Yes.
inspiring.
Well, one of the things I have several friends that have major autoimmune issues, and in all of this, I had out of the after my husband passed away, I'm up at the Snowy Lake house, and I had multiple pulmonary emboli, and I was taken by ambulance to a farther away hospital that could. They thought it was pneumonia, but they thought they could deal with it. But to make the long story short, it turned out that there was a syndrome called antiphospholipid syndrome, where my body just on its own in my blood vessels would clot. And for a while, I'm a praying woman, so I'm praying. So they started me on shots, and I had to give myself a shot every day, a blood thinner of Lovanex. And I remember I hated it. It's a good thing I'm not a nurse. My poor patients would have not been happy. But I remember praying for a while. I don't want to do shots anymore. I want to be able to go on a pill, which I had actually started on. I thought I just want to go back to this pill. And then I remember thinking, you know what? Why am I praying for that? Let's just pray that it'll be gone. And I was already making this change in my life and taking sugar out and doing food logs, and I could see my sleep changing and my energy. Oh my gosh, before I started this program, there's a difference between I think I'll go take a short nap or to being totally fatigued. I've got to go lay down. I just don't have it to do one thing. Um, and so I just thought I just want it gone. And so I was fully committed, and I called my hematologist and I asked him if he would redo my blood work. And his exact words were, you could interview him too. He goes, well, we can do that, but I just don't want you to be, he goes, why do you want it redone? And I said, because I don't want this anymore. I want it gone. And he says, well, I don't want you to be disappointed. It's not the kind of thing that just goes away. So I said, well, but he goes, we'll redo it if you want. So I went in. Maybe 2 weeks later, he was on vacation. I didn't know that. And I remember thinking, why isn't he responding? So I emailed him in my chart, and he said back, oh, I'm so sorry. We did get your results. And he goes, I don't know what to say, except you no longer need to be on blood thinners. You no longer have antiphospholipid syndrome, and you're free to stay off. He goes, let's redo the blood work. In fact, it's coming up. I don't even want to do it.
Oh, I mean,
And
you're
it was
feeling great, right?
Yes. Yes. And, he said, if you want to take a baby aspirin, maybe do that. But I don't even do that. I mean, I eat right. Every now and then, if it's really cloudy for a few days, I maybe take a vitamin D. And then I do the bio boost, which people will learn about. It just starts my whole day off right. Um, yeah, it's just like night and day. And that was a miracle. It took me a minute to think, to really process that this was really happening. And it was such a huge thing. I mean, imagine, when you're type 2 diabetes and and suddenly you find out you're not anymore. My daughter-in-law, she's a type 1 diabetic since she was 12, which is different, but to have that kind of a life change was huge.
So for many years, you lived with that autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah.
And after you finished the Food Freedom Program and you made that nutritional reset, you also made a reset in your mindset, believing that's possible for you and opening that possibility. Then
Yeah.
at the end of the program, you did the blood test and you just don't have that autoimmune disease anymore.
And, I'm not positive that's in a category of autoimmune. It's in a category of blood disorders. That is definite. Um, but one of the things when you talk about autoimmune, there were other times where I would have things that were definitely indicators of inflammation. I don't have those at all anymore. I don't, my knees were achy in the morning. I'm 71. So you expect some, natural stuff, but no, I feel like I've taken 20 years off of my body. So, I didn't fall. The other day I jumped off a retaining wall. Well, this was before the program. And I just did something to my knee and it was so swollen and so inflamed. Well, I kept staying with the program and I started with the program and I stayed with that. The swelling went down. There's no permanent damage. I'm back on my knee like it was before. So if you have people who deal with inflammation, there's no doubt that getting rid of these toxins, I know people know that, but to actually do it and see the difference is amazing. It was amazing for me. I just had to actually do it and not, because it's amazing how many little ways we can let things sneak in and then the additive, part of it. So, yeah, I'm a fan. I am. I've been a fan of yours forever. So I'm just continuing my streak. I don't know what to make me be free of next.
I think you're amazing and the things you achieved. I mean, Kathy, 71 years old,
Mm-hmm.
reduced inflammation, taking care of yourself, looking amazing, having energy. I remember in one of our calls, you were sharing how you used to do like a house chore and then you felt fatigued and had
Oh,
to lie down. And now, tell me about now.
no, now it's almost like the opposite. There's times I feel kind of wired. I just, well, the other thing, I quit coffee and I talked about that mushroom coffee.
Yep.
And so, and I did find out some of it does have caffeine. I'm not even sure if the one I do has any caffeine, but I still will have a cup of coffee. If I stop, meet someone for coffee, I'll have a cup of coffee. But that was another thing for me that I remember thinking, I got to get up and have. It used to be I have to get up, have my coffee and my cigarette. Then it was like, well, I'll get up and have my coffee. And now it's like, when I'm up, I'll have a cup of mushroom coffee. And one of the things you talk about was neutralizing your triggers, and how to empower your thoughts instead of just going because that's how I've always done it. So for me, that the energy change was night and day. There's no words for it. Um, yeah, normally I would have to reschedule this because I might be napping a few months ago. And now, no, I have no. We're going to go to the storage unit. We're going to move some furniture. And I feel like I'm back in the land of the living. And I had my grandma till I'm 105. And that also influenced my decision. It's not like I think, if my dad passed at 86, so I think that's going to happen. But I think it kind of does make me aware, and it should make us all aware. We have today, and we want to have the best day we can have today. And what if I have 35 more years of today's? What do I want them to look like? Because you said that a few times in the program. Think down the road, because if we don't do something different, we're going to be the same place. And it's a huge concept to wrap your head around. You're
Yes.
good at you're good at making us think.
Thank you. That's my job. I love
Well,
it.
if you're considering people who are considering this program, that's another thing that I want to say about you, Nasya, is you make it easy in the way that you're so supportive. You're clear. You give us the facts. You never make someone feel like they're failing. It's always like, if you're aware of that setback you had, and now, it's kind of supporting them to what might they do different the next time. It's really empowering the way you run your videos and your sessions and your Q&As. I was always I was so energetic. I rarely was on the camera because I would turn my video off and I'd do the dishes and sweep or because I had so much energy. So yeah, I thank you for that.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for sharing that. And that means a lot because that is my goal, and that's what all my programs are designed to do, to empower,
Yeah.
not teach, not tell off, not scare, but empower, because
Yeah.
that's invaluable. Once someone feels empowered, this is something that nobody can take away from them and something they can take in every aspect of their lives. So that means very, very much. Thank you.
And your team too, they get right back to you. They're really good. Jody is amazing, and I really thank them too.
Yes, they're amazing. They're
Mhm.
amazing. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing that. And so much more energy. Life, you're in the land of the living. This, you just said that and it stuck with me. And that's so important because we can be alive, but not necessarily living. Having that
Exactly.
zest for life, that energy to take on life, not hiding from life because of lack of energy or lack of confidence or whatever it may be. This is what proper
Mhm.
freedom is all about. So, congratulations.
It really is about that. We have this one life, you know. I believe, and you're right. It's like, why not? Instead of getting to the point of why should I do this or do I want to do this, why not do it? And the support you're offering after is also incredible. It just kind of keeps you plugged in and reminds you. And if I had a couple questions, I would jot them down, thinking, oh, I'll be reaching out, and that kind of makes you realize that wasn't just a 12-week event. This is for the rest of my life. You
Yes.
should see my refrigerator. You'd be so proud. Does well now. It has some of my son's food in it, but before you opened it up, it was just a mass of fruits and vegetables and green and tangerines. And my favorite dessert now is frozen grapes. If I crave something sweet, I go grab a frozen grape. And yeah, sourdough. I'm still trying to perfect my sourdough recipe and not have it come out looking like a UFO, because if I can just get it to flour, salt, and water, I'll be happy. But yeah, my bread eating is way down as well. So, and I found other ways to get things. If you go to YouTube videos now, they have amazing ways to make like a flat bread.
Yes. Yes. And Kathy, can you remind me from the beginning of the process, how much weight did you lose? And is that something that you wanted? Did you reach your goal? Are you happy with it?
About a week before the program, I was at my highest, was over 162. On the day we started, I think I put 161. And now I average 150. And I know if I completely am not drinking right now, we're doing 21 days of fasting. So I chose sugar and alcohol. Sugar was easy, but I forget alcohol is sugar. Then I still go down like, a half a pound a week in a healthy way. So my goal is to actually get to 140, 135. I'm 5'6", and then decide if how I feel. But one of the biggest changes, so yeah, it's been over 10 pounds. One of the biggest changes is my clothes. We started winter. We started this 12 weeks, before Christmas. And my winter clothes, I had changed my closet out. So clothes that I remember I'd look at pants and think, oh, I don't want to wear those. But then I'd put them on and they would be comfortable or even loose. I mean, and that's, I live alone. It's me and my dog that's scratching at the door. Ignore her. Um, it's not like I have to dress for anybody or anything, but to be comfortable in your clothes and feel, because I was wearing like a 8, a 10, sometimes a 12. And now I'm in my 6 and 8s and I'm just getting rid of my clothes that are Goodwill has been happy to see me. And it just feels good. It just feels healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kathy, though the pounds you lost, those 11 plus pounds, for you to reduce your clothing size that much, it was the pounds that mattered that you
And
released, not water or anything like that. It was proper
it's
weight.
in your body, I hate the expression back fat, but it's like, I don't have that anymore. It's like, I don't have that big crease and the body looks totally different, and, I have a hot tub. So I'm always hopping in there with friends and, my girlfriends will say, oh my gosh, and it just, my body has just gone back quite a few years to what it could be. And it's still a 71-year-old body, but I love it and it services me fine. But it feels better. Everything just feels better. Yeah. Thank you. I can't say enough. You know me. And it's not just me. I'm on the Facebook page. We have a Facebook support group. People have lost, upwards 20, 30 pounds and everybody's feeling better, and the support there and the ideas and the recipes and your comments and your team chimes in. It's been amazing. There's really nothing negative about it. I
Just the
can't think.
food log a little bit.
Huh?
Just the food log a little bit.
Just the food log, and that's just one of those things you just have to do.
I
And
know.
and that's another thing you're good at. If I missed a little bit, if one day I skipped a whole day, I didn't feel guilty and go back and try to catch up. I was camping. I just turned the page and started again. So that's, it's like, it's not, the world's not going to end. But I knew looking back, my food log eventually got to where I would put in my entry. I would draw a line, draw another line, draw another line, because it was the same. My bio boost, what prompted me to do it, I knew it would make me feel better. Why did I have it? How did I feel afterwards? I felt energized. And that the good things weren't changing. And what I noticed on my food log, the bad things were just going away.
Mm.
So it's so worth it to keep it. I still have it. I still have my smoking food log too.
Really?
Yeah. Just
Wow.
in, in case I claimed for smoking. At the end, you gave us some acronyms and I chose NOPE, not one puff ever, because I think what a small thing could just take you back. But same with this. So.
I
Mm-hmm.
love it. And how long have you been smoke free? Can you remind me?
It's been almost 3 years. Yeah. In fact, my cousin, she lives in Los Angeles area, and she called me one day and she goes, I didn't even know you smoked. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm looking into this CBQ program and I saw you holding up your smoke free.
Wow.
I laughed. I said, yeah, I did. I said, well, I was kind of a closet smoker. But then when my daughter had twins, it was just like, oh, yeah, I just didn't want to be a smoker. And I got tired of that mind of, I want to go have a cigarette, or do I smell smoky if I'm going to be around the babies? So thankful that monkey's off my back.
Yeah, and with transformation after transformation after transformation.
Well, I credit it all to God. I do. And I know without a doubt in my mind and my heart, he put you in my life to just kind of guide me, give me guidance in some of the steps to take. Because it goes back to that very first thing. It's not possible to learn what you think you already know. And, of course, I already knew smoking wasn't good for me. I already knew sugar wasn't good for me, but how could I learn it? You know what I mean? How could I change it when I felt like, and I knew eating right would be good for me, but how do I learn it if I thought, okay, I know it, but what have I done about it? In a positive way. So
Very wise. And that's why sometimes people think and feel like, oh, I know what to do. I just don't do it. The truth is, we
yeah,
don't really know. We
right.
know something, but we don't really know. So we have to empty our cup so it may be filled with new
Yeah.
things.
And that was pretty much where you started us at. When I look at my first day of my journal, that's what you started at. The mental, dealing with the mental, dealing with the behavioral, and dealing with the nutritional. And you said the main thing we can do, the biggest thing we can do during this program, show up. Just show up. And that's, I look forward to Wednesdays. So the idea that, you know what, the things that are worth it in life, marriage, raising kids, your body, your mindset, they do take work. They do take effort. The payoffs are amazing. It's so worth it. But to not give up and just try to see down the road a ways. And yeah, for me, and it's not to say that everything is work, but find those things you love and then put the effort into those things that are important.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. That what I'm hearing is that what is worth it takes some work, and that work doesn't have to look like being hard. It can look like effort and attention and making time for something and simply
Exactly.
prioritizing it, because sometimes prioritizing can be the hardest thing. And loving oneself is totally worth it to
Right.
invest in yourself in terms of time and focus and make a change that
Right.
will change your life. So yeah.
When I just at some point you had us make a list of why we were doing this. And I want healthy weight and body and energy, which I do now. I want to be more accepting of myself and my body. My daughter took all of our old, little cassette videos and she put them on whatever you put them on now. And she says, Mom, there's hardly a video that you don't say, wait, take this from this side, or don't get my bad side, or, make me look skinny, or don't take that picture. And she said, you have a terrible body image. And part of it, my husband, bless his soul, he did not help that. And it's a whole nother story, but he just had a way of saying things that I felt fat. I wasn't fat. I was never really fat. But he married me when I was 120 pounds. And after I had kids, I was 135 to 140 pounds. And he just, anyway. And then I want to, number two, feel good in my clothes, not be food driven. I want to make better food choices. I want to just enjoy fruits and vegetables. And I want to have skin and have better hair. Oh my gosh, my hair. I didn't even mention that. It was a frizz ball. It looked like cotton candy. And now I have hair. And then my third thing was I want to honor God. I want to get rid of my blood disease. I want to have no autoimmunes. I want to have more joy, not having such food be such a priority, and control of every aspect of my life. And I want more time to enjoy my days, and I want balance. That was the list I made when you asked us, what, search your own heart about why you're doing this. And then you said, those are all good to all of us, but motivation can be unstable. And you said intrinsic motivation, however, is always available. So you want to be able to say, I am. Look at your freedom, your passion, your fun, your autonomy, your enjoyment, your self fulfillment. And then start to use the words like, I am the kind of person who can. I can learn, I can grow, I can change, I can be responsive, overreactive. I don't want to give away your whole course.
That's fine. You're not. You're not. I actually I have chills that the fact that everything you put down as your goal on
I
the
know.
first week of the program has
And
now all of it been realized, right?
this session one, week one,
Yeah.
those were all ones week one. So yeah, that's, take control, we go where we look. So keep your eyes on that. Um, the mind is inclined to focus on fear. And, God does not want us to have a life of fear. I mean, we know where fear comes from. You call him the Joker. I call him Satan. And he knows that fear can make us kind of frozen and unproductive and ineffective. And that's not what God wants for us. So that was, yeah, week one was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did this. I didn't have to go past the first week that it was like I knew where we were headed. And then you talked about visualizing and then doing the visualizing exercises. And I could just picture me one or two places. I was sitting by a kind of a spring, and I was sitting, just looking at the water and relaxing. But I was a person that I recognized from in my life when it was healthier. And then also the other one was I'm not a rock climber, but when we'd go camping and would picture me sitting up on a rock with just like one knee bent in, my hiking boots on, jeans and a sweater, looking out and just enjoying that moment, being present. And so that was huge. So yeah, we started out with, I'm not a big photo picture person, only because I mean, I rarely even post on Facebook, but so I didn't do that, but I did for myself. And then craft your desired outcome was what you talked about, do your visualization. So the week started us off because at the beginning, it's like, most diets, you start off with this is what you do. This is what you eat. This is what you don't eat. This is that. But you didn't start that way. In fact, by the third week, we're all thinking, what are we going to do? And that one on sugar, it was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, no regrets. Nothing but good things to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that you achieved all your goals that you set on week one of the program.
I know they're right here. I mean, it's here, just so you don't think I'm making it up. There they all are in writing.
And that's the purpose, to set a goal and achieve it. But you
Yeah.
even achieved the not having that blood condition anymore.
Oh, oh my gosh. I called up they came in the mail because it was also regular, and it was just a horrible way to start your day, to get up and it wasn't the actual giving me the shot. I mean, that was part of it, but it was just having to do that every day. And then, my dad, he was blessed. I never saw him on a prescription drug in his entire life, or my grandmother. And I think I'm taking after that side of the family. But there was just something about having to, go camping, make sure you had your shots with you, make sure that if the camper got too warm, I just, oh, and then I went to Portugal. I was in Portugal and Spain and what am I missing? Spain. Oh, and France, south of France. My girlfriend and I went for about a month and traveled around. And I had to half my suitcase were these injections. Yeah, it was like, oh my gosh. I got home from that and I thought, I just don't want to do this. And I even called him and I said, can I go back to, I think it was called, what was the shot? I mean, the pill, Xarelto. I said, can I go back to Xarelto while I'm on my trip? And he said, no, these are much more effective and nah, nah, nah. So yeah, I can't begin to tell you the freedom that came with not having that anymore. So people who have something and they think they have to live with it, it's a good chance you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Very inspiring. And it all starts with that nutrition and that mindset that accompanies it. Because like you said earlier, many times we know or we think we know what to do, we just don't do it. And how we do something also matters. So it will stick and so that we will want to do it and not force ourselves. So all part of the transformation which you did and so much more. So again, Kathy, huge congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. I mean, I hope new people who sign up can access our Facebook page, or, if they want to reach out, because I know we could do that every now and then on the smoking one. But anyone, I'm Kathy Hogan. Anyone's welcome to reach out to me.
You're
Thank you.
amazing. Yeah,
All
and
right.
you're in the community, you are in the food freedom community, and it's it's an amazing community. And thank you so
Thank you.
much for extending your hand and inviting people to reach out to you.
Thank you, Nasia. You're the best.
So, Kathy, again, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story, your experience. I know that your story, it will help, it will encourage, it will inspire many other people who are on
I,
their own journey and want to take their own health journey, however that may look like. So, thank you so much.
yeah, 12 weeks might seem like a long time, but it's there before you know it. In fact, at week 11, we were all panicking. It's like, don't leave us, but you didn't. And it was great. Thank you, Nasia. Thank you so much for asking me to do this.
My
Uh,
pleasure. It was amazing. And I want to invite anyone who will be watching right now to leave a comment below and let Kathy and I know what you're taking away from her amazing journey that can help you in yours. Thank you so much.